Welcome back to the To Hull and Back podcast with me, Joel, and there's Nathaniel and Will today as well. How are you both doing?
Perfectly fine. Thank you for asking.
Right, first of all, like we do every podcast, we've got to speak about the sponsors and the partners. Thank them for sponsoring us, really. So if you don't know Hull City Retro Art, they are a company that recreates Hull City shirts of the past and sells them at an affordable price, because a lot of people do love the authentic shirts that we've got but can't afford to part ways with a ridiculous amount of money. So if you check them out on Twitter, you can maybe become a member and you can have a look at what they're doing. We've got some of our own. We love them. We think they're good quality, so it's worth having a look if you're looking at some older shirts but you don't want to spend a few £100 trying to get them. Our other sponsor is Charlie Spalding, filmmaker. Charlie is an extremely talented videographer. Try and get the right word there. Videographer, there we go. Who boasts an impressive resume. He's worked with Adidas, he's worked in the motorsports industry. So if you like an event of your own filming, then get in touch with Charlie. Now, you've probably seen us post a lot about our main partner, FanHub. This is an app that's changing the game for the fans. So basically what you can do is you can boost your fan rating by correctly predicting the starting lineup from each Hull City game, checking into the grounds on match day and viewing the fan feed, which includes a lot of content, including our podcast. By boosting this fan rating, you're in with a chance of winning 2 free tickets to any Hull City game at home or some FanHub merch. So if you download the app on the App Store and keep an eye out on our socials for golden ticket codes if you want to skip the queue and access immediately. And last but not least, we encourage support to the Hull Badge Man. You know the old tradition of standing outside the ground selling badges. They're really struggling at the moment because of the COVID pandemic, so they're looking for a bit of support before they lose their online store. So please, if you can, buy some badges from them and show some support. So we're going to get straight into the Reading game. It was a 1-1 draw. We played well, I think, from the start. Held on in the end. What are your thoughts, Nathaniel? What do you think of the game?
Well, I predicted a fairly predictable 1-1 draw away at Reading, and we drew 1-1 away at Reading. I mean, it's fine. I'll happily take a point away from home in the Championship. Were you going to butt in there, Will?
And didn't all three of us predict a 1-1 draw?
We may well have.
I didn't predict anything, I don't think. I think
me, Joel and Anne, I think we all predicted a 1-1 draw, but it probably should have been a 1-1 draw.
Possibly. I mean, Wilkes had some chances, but then I looked at the penalty shout, and especially that last one, Dishon Bernard's handball. We got a bit lucky there, but and lucky with our goal, you could argue as well. Keeper should have done a whole lot better. But yeah, fine. I would have taken a point before the game, and based on how we played, happy with a point after. That's 13 points from 15, and I think that keeps the momentum going quite nicely.
So the penalty appeals, let's talk about those. So the first one from memory was John Swift running into the penalty area, and Bernard kind of ran across him and took him down. What did you think, Will? Did you think it was more of a blatant dive, or did you think that maybe it should have been a penalty because Bernard's just gone straight through him?
At the time, I thought, nah, it's not a penalty. And every time I watch the replay, I'm a bit like, I've seen him given.
Yeah.
And to be honest, all three of their penalty shouts could have very easily been penalties. I'm not surprised that the ref got a lot of stick from the Reading fans, because we might have got away with one on that front.
Yeah, with a handball from an Andy Carroll header, Bernard's hand was, I'd say, about 30 centimetres away from when Andy Carroll made contact with the ball. So I think, personally, that Bernard couldn't have done anything about it.
Yeah, but
it's above his head.
It's like he's putting his hand up, isn't he, to ask a question almost. It's like he's, going for a slam dunk, it's that high. So, that's an unnatural position.
No way near that.
I'd have given it.
His hand was already there before the ball came in, really. He was like kind of jumping up, and then Carroll's headed the ball, it's gone towards his hand. For me, I wouldn't give that as a penalty. That might be a biased view.
Yeah, I was going to say, if it had been the other way, you'd have been asking for a penalty.
I'd be livid.
Oh yeah, we've got to do that. Though. Every penalty appeal we've got to go for. So yeah, the Reading fans are right to be angry, but like I say, personally, I think a lot of them were 50-50. A lot of the penalty shouts. Speaking of the referee, then was there anything like on our part where you thought, well, that's a bit dodgy on our side? So what do you think of the offside goals? Did you think Wilkes's should have been given? Because McGuinness didn't head the ball down towards Wilkes, it was the defender. So do you think McGuinness has influenced the defender there for him to head the ball towards Wilkes, or do you think that he's not really played a part in it?
McGuinness is definitely interfering with play. Them's the rules. So, Wilkes was onside, and then the second goal, I think, was definitely offside. Honeyman was well off, but...
Honeyman was off there, yeah.
I thought maybe it looked like it came off McGuinness anyway, but I think he's right next to him, so I think that probably would be interfering with play. It's a shame though, because although Wilkes got his goal later, yeah, exactly, it was actually a good goal rather than the second one that he got, which 25 yard strike outside the box. That went in the top corner eventually. Sounds great, but after the keeper sort of palms it up into the top corner, not so much.
Yeah, what did you think of Tom Holmes' goal for Reading? Well, I think brilliant goal, really, for a centre-half.
Impressive.
I'm fairly sure it's a centre-half.
Yeah. Our defence was very all over the place for that goal. They didn't clear it when they should have done, but it's a cracking little goal.
I'm just glad it wasn't Andy Carroll scoring, because that's what all the apps said when the goal went in. And I think James Fletcher, the commentator, said 2 or 3 different names before we got to the right person who scored it. But just glad it wasn't Andy Carroll scoring an overhead kick, because we'd never live that down.
Yeah, it'd have been something we'd have been seeing for years to come from Reading fans, I think, every time we play them. So in terms of our man of the match, who would you, Will, say was our best player yesterday?
Bloody hell. Not actually sure.
Do you want to think about it if Nathaniel's got one in mind?
Yeah, I think I'll have to think about it, yeah.
Well, I'd have to think about it for a serious answer, but I could say the referee. Not the linesman, of course, but maybe the referee. Bernard sounded like he had a good game, except the one mistake that should have been punished. So I'll go Bernard. Big D.
I'll probably say, because I like just saying him every single game, Jacob Greaves. I thought he had a good game as well.
Yeah, he's getting better and better every game. I think this system suits him more than the 4-3-3 ever has.
Yeah.
It's giving him a chance to bomb forward, and he's always got McLaughlin or whoever else plays in that central part of the back three protecting him if he does end up wandering too far out. Personally, for me, I think Richie Smallwood was our best player. Once again, he's done it for the past 5 games now. He's been a rock in midfield, and I can see why McCann's still starting him over Huddleston, because he's intercepting balls out of the trying to put through. He's tackling. He's even progressing the ball as well whenever he's got it. He's giving it to Doherty or he's giving it to Honeyman to push up the pitch. And then anytime Greaves or Bernard push up, he's dropping back into that defence as cover. So he's doing everything a defensive midfielder in this system should be doing. And he did that again yesterday. So for me, I think Richie Smallwood. Now,
I think KLP also had a good game as well. Even though he constantly had that full back pressured the full game. And the version I was watching had the Reading commentary, the version of the game I was watching, and they just kept fucking going on about him as if he's the greatest player ever, which is a good sign that he's having a good time if the opponents are liking the look of him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he seems to be coming into his own now. I think he struggled towards the start of the season like the rest of the squad did, but he's now starting to have a little bit more confidence. He's taking players on. I think, to be fair, left wing back suited him better than left wing has done this season anyway.
Yeah, he has.
He's been weirdly, like considering he's been an attacker all his career from youth level up to where he is now, putting him in some sort of kind of a defensive role is doing him wonders. It's making him a better player.
I agree with that.
So in terms of players for improvement, it's obvious that we're all going to say
it's tradition now, isn't it?
I feel bad saying it every week at this point.
Yeah. It's just a broken record. Shall we play the clip from last week's episode?
It'd be tempting because he's.
Well, he scored though, right? So he scored 2 in 4. We are talking about Wilkes, right? Just to clarify. So, I mean, maybe that's too early to say that it's becoming a trend, but maybe if he gets one against whoever we play after Bristol City, then maybe we could start to say, well, although he's missing chances and he's not playing that well, he is actually getting the goals. I don't think we can be too bad to him, even though he missed chances. He scored, right? We would have lost otherwise.
Yeah.
So
it was a lucky goal in essence, though.
Oh, absolutely, it was.
That's the thing. He did score, so you can't really critique him to a
red
point.
Hot form.
But his performance was shocking.
Yeah.
And he scored. He scored a goal that never should have gone in. But he missed some golden chances that he should have been scoring regardless.
He did, yeah.
Yeah, I think.
Anyway, like I say, he's unlucky that the volley was offside because that was a fucking great finish.
Yeah, I think Tyler Smith's unlucky that Wilkes scored because, I mean, even though Wilkes is playing badly, if he does score, then Tyler Smith's not going to get played, even though he should, deserve to based on the performance as well.
Yeah, with him scoring, he's now not droppable for the Bristol City game. He's got stacks. He scored. He's one of those players, as we've said before, that he can have 89 minutes where he's doing nothing, but then he can pop up with a moment of magic and score.
I wouldn't say that was a moment of magic. I mean, when I looked at the highlights again, I thought
it was
he should not be shooting from there. Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
Caught the keeper off guards there.
Was it on his right foot as well, which is his weaker foot?
No, it was left.
I think it was his left. He didn't have a right foot. He'll never use his right foot.
That's why I was even more amazed by it at the time. I thought it was on his weaker foot, even worse.
I mean, it was a terrible piece of goalkeeping. It really was. It was straight at him. Like if the keeper doesn't move, it'll hit his shin and he'll save it. But because he tries to get down and catch it, it goes completely wrong. It was really bad. But we'll take it. Those goals are even more satisfying, I think, when you don't really deserve it.
So, what do you think was missing then from us to be able to get the 3 points? Because Reading did have a lot of the game where they were putting us under a lot of pressure. So, what? Well, let's not. I know we need another goal, but in terms of how we played, do you reckon there was something we could have improved on? Was there any of their plays we should have maybe been a little bit tighter on?
Our possession, we didn't retain it well enough. Whenever Reading started pressuring us, we didn't try and keep hold of the ball when we got it. We just kept getting it downfield and giving it back to them. Which is like what you don't want to be doing at the time because it just gives them more and more pressure to put on you. And to be fair, the defence did so well in that second half because it was pretty much all Reading.
I think that's sort of a trend that's happened the last 3 games now.
Yeah,
I mean, it didn't happen against Birmingham because we had, an extra man and we're 2 goals up. But we've been, like it's been a 1 goal either way for the last 3 games now. And Millwall and Cardiff and Reading, I think especially the last half an hour, maybe 20 minutes, we've been hanging on a bit. So, I mean, that's good for the defence that they've been able to withstand that pressure and not concede a late goal in any of those games. But it is a bit worrying that maybe especially as we've only started doing well when we scored the first goal, that maybe even, late in a game, we're not really likely to score because we can't get the ball, keep it well enough.
So Matthew at Elm Park Royals podcast has given us an opposition view of how they thought of the game. So we'll play that now and give it a listen.
Yeah, so Saturday, was quite an interesting game. I thought that in the first half, Hull looked really impressive, actually. The 5-3-2 was causing problems down one side, in particular the left-hand side. Lewis Potter kind of started there, switched a couple of times, popped up almost everywhere. And although you didn't create too many chances, there were some dangerous set pieces that we just didn't deal with particularly well. Coming to the end of the half, obviously, we convert one ourselves, which on the balance of play, probably a little bit unfair, but I thought that John Swift should have scored earlier on as well. He intercepted a pass and ran through clean on goal. Those are the situations where I think he almost has too much time and he doesn't quite know how to pick his spot. He almost deals better when it's a split second thing. So second half, I thought that you guys got a fairly lucky goal in the sense that the keeper should save it. He's been one of our better players this season, so that this is the sort of time when you need the rest of the side to step up and bail him out rather than the other way around for a change. But you seemed pretty content to then sit in and defend that lead without trying to sound too salty about it. I do think that there were a couple of penalty shouts that look fairly decent. Obviously, the one in the first half on Carroll, we win a corner from that anyway and score, so it's not too relevant, as Grant McCann said. Second one, John Swift on the edge of the box. That looked like a penalty to me. I'm not entirely sure if he was just on the line or outside the box. At the time, I thought it was a pen, and then I think the last one, which is a handball, it feels a bit harsh because they're so close, but you can't have your hand up in that position without giving away a penalty in my eyes. And I think we're a little bit hard done by, but equally I thought Hull defended very well. Reading did not create much in that second half. The chances that we did have, Andy Carroll probably should have done better with one. He had one in the first half where he just completely air kicked. He had a couple in the second half where I thought he should have done better to get over the ball. Instead blasted them way over. And we just didn't really have that cutting edge, which we never seem to when a team sits in against us. So in that regard, you guys played very well. I'm a little bit disappointed not to get the win based on the fact that I thought we had better chances. Yes, you looked bright in the first half, but you didn't create too much. Your goal is obviously an error on Reading's part, so that's a bit disappointing as well. But not coming away with it, massively unhappy.
So thank you to Matthew for sending a video across on his thoughts of the Reading game. Now we'll move on to the Bristol City game. Bristol City are managed by former Tigers boss Nigel Pearson. Now, what did you guys think of Pearson's time at the club when he was here?
Needed.
Yeah, I don't remember. I'm so young.
You don't remember?
Child. I know people understandably look back on it like, oh, it was boring. And to be fair, a lot of it was quite boring. It was something City needed at the time, having just come down from the Prem and we're in a bit of financial, we were in the shit. And it was just as the Elms were about to buy us. He was someone who steadied the ship, and I think without him, essentially without him coming in, Bruce wouldn't have been as successful, I think, in the long run, simply put.
Yeah, some of the signings he made that went on to be very successful for us. Some of them got us to the FA Cup final, some of his signings as well. So it's I think in terms of the football was bad, but in terms of what he brought into the club, what he did for the club, ended up being a good thing, and it brought us our most successful period through them foundations that he laid before Bruce took over. So Bristol City are 17th in the league at the moment. They're 4 points above us in the league, and in the last 5 games, they've won 2, drew 1, and lost 2, with the wins coming against Derby and Stoke at home, the draw being Blackburn at home, and then both losses coming away at Sheffield United and Coventry. So from them 5 games, should we be beating them because they've lost both away games they've played? So in terms of when they come away from Ashton Gate, should we be taking advantage of that? Do you see us getting back to winning ways? I personally think we do. So I'll see what you guys think.
I think because of where they are on the table and where we are on the table, it's definitely a game that Grant will want to be looking at getting all 3 points from. Someone nearby to us. They're the games that we need to be winning if we want to obviously stay up. I do think it'll be... They're very mixed bag, Bristol, but like I said, because it's Pearson, they're going to be a bit of maybe a little tougher to break down than what a few teams we've played this season are. So it could be a tricky game. I wouldn't be unhappy with a draw, but obviously I would want to see us win against a team like them.
Yeah, I agree. They've won a few games at home, but away from home they've not won in a little while. I think they won at Peterborough, who fairly rubbish at the moment. So I think this is definitely a game that not that we'll definitely win, but we really should be picking up at least a point. Don't want to, because there's already 4 points between us and Bristol City, and then the rest of the other clubs that are like all on 27 points or something. So we don't want to lose and kind of have that gap open up. So we're kind of lodged in between the rest of the teams and then kind of the relegation battle below us. So we've beaten Birmingham and Millwall at home recently, who are better teams than Bristol. So I think definitely this is a game that we could get 3 points from. But a draw would be fine, but don't really want to lose that kind of winning feeling that we've had recently. So I think we could get 3 points.
Yeah, if we do get them 3 points, I think it does put us only a few points behind 7th, 8th and 9th in the league.
Mm-hmm.
I could be wrong. But it just shows that if we can win, we then go on to the game against Nottingham Forest thinking, well, we can jump up a few places here. And that kind of confidence, momentum that we could get from this will be brilliant for the players. And they'll all be just kind of going into games thinking we can beat these, we can push up the league. And then, as McCann says, as the players have been saying, take things game by game and don't think about future games. And we should start creeping up the table a bit. But it all depends on if we can keep this mentality going, because one loss, we could end up slipping back into the ways we were before. McCann might end up getting scared and putting himself back in a 4-3-3. Well, if he does that, we won't see him much longer in the job anyway. But we need to kind of go into games with this confidence that we can beat anybody, because if we go into these games thinking we're not going to win them, then
definitely
we'll just
won't.
back down into the relegation.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's one thing, actually, thinking about it. Saturday could be, going on about he might not be in a job any much longer, it could be the first game with the new owners in, if all goes as has been said.
Yeah. I think it might just be after the Bristol City one, possibly.
I do as well, but if it all goes as has been predicted, it might happen this week.
Yeah, it might.
Yeah,
it might happen on like the Sunday afterwards or something.
Baz Cooper's been saying on Twitter a lot about it. It's more days than it is weeks. So exactly. It could happen tomorrow.
40 days.
We could release this after the announcement.
So I'm fully expecting that.
Well, I mean, on one hand, that would be bad for us as a podcast, but also we'd want that to happen. We just want to get it done, and then because I'm contemplating going to the game, but if there's not the I'm not going to travel all the way if it's not the first game. But hopefully, I'll be there for. It should be at least Boxing Day at the MKM. That is the first game with the new owners. So. I mean, it's exciting times, but I think we have reason to be excited, and confident that it'll be an entertaining game for us, at least, even without the new owners, because it'll be good to keep this momentum going and keep scoring some goals and, not have a miserable podcast on the, few days after. So.
Not been miserable for a while, actually, has it? It's been pretty decent. Well, I say a while. I think we've recorded 1 or 2 episodes since we've won games, but
that's true.
Hopefully that can carry on being a positive podcast because
it's a
we don't want to
nice
slip
change.
back into the ways of slating every player. Yeah, it's something that we've not seen since the League One season, apart from the Preston game. We've not had a positive podcast, really. It'll be even more positive once the Allams have gone.
Oh, yeah.
Negativity will be frowned upon. I'm going to be honest, I've run out of things to say.
Oh, we can talk about the new, that Turkish rumour of that player, the first Turkish player we've been linked to. I haven't got a clue who he is, really, or how to say his name.
That is superb stuff there, Nathaniel.
Emirhan Adeyogan, that'll do, from Bursaspor, 24-year-old midfielder. I mean,
clue who he is.
Absolutely no idea whether this is, going to happen, but it's promising that, finally getting the Turkish-related rumours. Although,
I'm surprised it took this long, actually.
Well, actually, me too, because, in the group chats and all that, it's like, we're going to sign Cenk Tosun, we're going to sign Mesut Ozil, all these really famous players. But, I hope we don't all get our hopes up too much, because I don't think we're going to be spending millions and millions.
No,
definitely. And Turkey, I think we could probably get a few decent players from the, main division, but the Turkish league is fairly, strong. It's not like we're going to be able to sign, players playing for Fenerbahce or something, because there are European sides, in the European competition. So we might be able to get a few over, but signing players from, foreign country probably is quite expensive as well. And we might be relying on loans as well, perhaps.
So what you're saying, Nathaniel, is we can only get Mesut Ozil and no one else? Right?
Yeah, I'd take that. Although, who'd we drop for Mesut Ozil? Can't drop Honeyman.
Wilkes.
Yeah, but play Ozil up front. Yeah, that could work. That'll do.
I don't know if it would.
Make it happen.
Ozil's even more lazy than Wilkes.
Well, actually, the thing is, like, even if he's creating chances for McGuinness or Wilkes or whoever it's going to be, Ozil can't shoot. He can only pass, right? So it wouldn't help.
I can't believe we're actually on about this in a serious manner.
I'm not talking about it in a serious manner. I don't think we're going to sign Mesut Ozil, but we'll just have to make do with Cenk Tosun, I think. Yeah.
I get Burak Yilmaz instead.
He's ancient. He's ancient.
He's only 36.
Only 36.
Yeah, Ronaldo smashing it in the Premier League at that age.
I suppose
Yilmaz is just about on par with him in terms of ability.
Oh, this is a throwback. I remember when I first came on the podcast, all we did was talk about unrealistic players that we could sign. So, this is a nice throwback.
Well, should we go on to realistic players we could possibly sign? Because there's been a rumour about Dwight Gale of Newcastle being allowed to leave the club either on loan or...
I thought we were talking about realistic players we're going to sign.
I think this is a relatively realistic one, to be fair.
Dwight Gale's probably on more wages than, the rest of our team combined.
I think that's a possibility.
That's what I think. On loan, do we think Illy Carly will have the ambition to do that? Yes. We need a striker. But then there'll be a lot of clubs will be queuing up to get him.
Well, exactly.
That's the only issue.
But the thing is, hopefully, in maybe a year or two, if we're become more established and do sign a few players, then maybe that sort of deal in a few years with new owners will be possible, because the last 2 or 3 years, something like that's just been completely, impossible. So hopefully that's the sort of thing we can look forward to, but I don't think so just yet. I think we are still in a relegation battle, and I don't think Dwight Gale's going to want to come here.
That's fair.
All depends on how December goes. If we keep this run going in December, we could find ourselves 10th if we keep winning games and keep even drawing games as well. We could find ourselves 10th and looking up and thinking a few signings we could actually sneak into that playoff
to push it. Yeah,
there's no one in this league apart from Fulham and Bournemouth that stands out as they're going to go up. It's just going to the top. Well, the top four, I'm not going to say the 4, shall I say, in the top 6 that fight for the playoffs. any team down from third down to 15th, 16th, 17th could go on a run and get up there. Aston Villa did it a few years ago when
we're on a run, aren't we?
Yeah, well, exactly. So we can push ourselves up. It's ambitious. We've not been this positive about it in a while, but yeah, I think it is a possibility.
Or is it dare to dream? One of the two. Yeah.
Okay, so moving back to the Bristol City game, what do we think the score's going to be? Personally, I think we're going to beat them 2-1 with a late winner. So I'll start off with Nathaniel because he's nodding along there. He looks like he's got an idea of what he thinks. So we'll move on to you first.
I think we can get the 3 points from this. I mean, Chris Martin's probably almost 100% going to score, perhaps, but maybe it will be ruled out. So I'm going to go 2-0 to City. And I mean, you haven't asked for goal scorers, but let's go. Our favourite player, Wilkes, to score, and then Longman to seal the deal later on.
It's got to be Longman.
I haven't mentioned him all episode. That's good going for me.
I'll get into every single one, aren't we? What about you, Will?
I'm going to go with 1-0, and I'm going to say my favourite player, Jacob Greaves, to finally get his goal. As I say every single week.
That's unrealistic. It's not going to happen.
I say it every week, and it still hasn't happened.
No. Maybe if you don't say it,
one day,
then it'll happen.
One day.
One day, yeah.
Not one day soon, I don't think.
What about you, Joel?
I said 2-1.
Oh, yes.
But in terms of goal scorers, I think Tyler Smith's going to get one off the bench. And I get the feeling Deshaun Bernard, maybe a header.
Yeah.
Big dish.
Would like that. Big D goal, yes.
He's not scored for us yet, has he? So.
No. Well, see, I think, though, with the way we're playing, it's more likely Greaves or Bernard's going to score like a really great long-range effort.
Yeah, we've mentioned that before, haven't we?
Yeah, because the way they bomb forward, it's really good.
Fantastic.
I thought one was at the Reading game. I thought Bernard was going to score one because he made a charge in running and unleashed a shot, but I think it ended up like just towards the corner flag more than anything. So one day they're going to get that on target, and hopefully it's going to be a lot more spectacular than the Wilkes goal.
Yeah. And do we keep the same lineup then?
I mean, there's an obvious change we'd make, but you can, at the same time, can you justify it because he scored? I'd pick same team.
Yeah, it's got to be the same team. I can't think of any like.
Not dropping Wilkes. I'm shocked. I thought you were definitely going to say that.
I mean,
we say it every week. Come on.
I personally would, but he did score. I know he still scored, and you can't really go against
Wouldn't
that.
help his confidence, would it?
Exactly. I don't think. I mean, I would like to see Tyler Smith play, but it'll be the same team.
Yeah, it will be. Can't change a drawing team, can you?
No. Never heard that saying before. But I think that just about wraps up the podcast. I think it's a little bit of a shorter one than usual, but it's my first time hosting, so I'm a little bit new to it. Hopefully, as I do it a little bit more, I'll be able to make these a bit longer for you, get a few more questions in there, and maybe even have a guest. Maybe have a guest on hosting with a guest. So, thanks for listening, and we'll see you on the next one.